wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God, I let it go.
May 2022 video horoscopes with me, Lada from Astrolada.com. May is eclipse season. There will be some crises that are happening in our lives, some big reversals, but like with everything eclipses, those reversals can create powerful new opportunities in our lives. I had such a crisis right before the eclipse, and my YouTube channel with 300,000 followers was deleted, hacked and deleted, and YouTube refuses to restore it, which is a great opportunity to create the vision I've had for some times, because something had to push me to make a channel just with my own videos that is pure astrology with my teaching and occasional teacher, astrologer who is my guest. Plus, this pushed me to start an Astrolada streaming service, which we're in the process of creating, where you can access all the videos independent of any platforms and big players, as you can see how they can delete your life in a second if they want. But I'm excited for this because it will be devoid of the vibrations of whatever it is, but we're still gonna use YouTube to attract new followers. And please subscribe to that YouTube channel if you're using YouTube or whatever you're watching, Facebook or Instagram. Follow me, and I'll be posting here. We'll restore some of the old videos as well, which is great, the tutorial videos, and I have new rubrics, new monthly exciting astrology projects that I'll be doing. And by the way, if you want to still join me on my course in May the 4th, it starts. It will be live for 6 weeks. I'll be teaching foundational astrology, how to interpret the natal charts, the techniques that are very simple but extremely insightful. There is an installment plan if you can't afford to pay it just once. So, new beginning. Let's begin with eclipse seasons. A lot of us will be having new beginnings. Please take it as opportunities, not just as crises. Virgo, May 2022, whether it's your sun, moon, or ascendant. Let's start with the huge news this month. Jupiter will be moving into another sign, into Aries, out of your 7th house, into your 8th house. This is the great benefic. Wherever it moves, it brings new opportunities there and expands horizons to you, gives you answers, solves difficult situations in life. And for you Virgos, Jupiter will be moving from the 10th of May into your 8th house and will stay there till the end of the year almost, so for 6 months, and then again in 2023 for 6 months. But let's see what this means for you in the long term. Maybe some of you might feel it immediately from May the 10th onwards. Others might have to wait over the next 6 months, but there will be clearing of problems, financial problems for many of you, because the 8th house is house connected to resources that come to you from others. Maybe if you have a business, your resources will expand. New clients will come that bring more resources to you. Maybe you will expand your business by using the talents of others, so benefiting by, the talents and the gifts of others, which is the 8th house. Maybe someone will reach out and help you in some way. 8th house is the house where we receive help from others, emotional, psychological, or financial. Or if you're trying to apply for a loan or for a mortgage, or to ask someone for any kind of help that is not purely dependent on you, that is somehow beyond your reach, well, you will very likely have the green light starting from May onwards. Maybe to get that mortgage, maybe to get that loan, maybe to get that support from someone, emotional or physical, psychological. Plus, these are your mutual finances. If you're married with your partner, maybe your partner, for example, can get a promotion over the next few months, start making more money, contribute to the family budget. Or maybe you can, together, mutually, your finances can go on the next step. For example, when I had Jupiter in my 8th house from the ascendant, my income tripled thanks to collaborating with others. It was somehow involved with others, and because my husband, again, it's involved with a partner, really helped me with the process. So these are some of the good things on the material level you can expect from Jupiter transiting your 8th house. On the psychological level, and plus if you have any problems like taxes, insurances, inheritances, they will be solved, and you might receive even more than you expected. Or even if you're not expected any tax refund, or money coming to you from another, or from insurance or inheritance, you can receive something. Jupiter tends to give us things kindly and abundantly, and especially when it comes to those 8th house matters. And then on the psychological level, the 8th house is the house of trauma, where we store the deep feelings from past lifetimes or earlier lives, where we're trying to process the feelings. Well, Jupiter, and where once you process the feelings, there is a transformation. Once you process the feelings of trauma, of emotional attachment, to obsessions, to our inner demons, is also our 8th house. The things that we fear the most, that scare us the most, that overpowers, or that we're painfully attached to, like obsessions, addictions as well in some way. And they're again our inner demons. Well, Jupiter will help expedite and will help resolve such matters. For some of you, there will be psychological healing. Some of you might find an incredible psychic or an astrologer or occultist or psychologist, someone that works with the internal feelings and help them resolve these traumas. For others, it will happen naturally and spontaneously by some event that might even feel somehow shocking, because the events of the 8th house that Jupiter will expand, they spin so fast they can make you feel like you've been taken by a tornado, spun around in the eye of the storm, and you're like, what the hell is happening? It's like your old ego is shaking, it's feeling your old life. But then Jupiter tornado brings you in the magic land, a land where you shed a lot of trauma, a land where you feel emotionally much higher vibrationally, a land where there is deeper ability to connect with others, because the 8th house is one of the houses that allows us to connect on a very deep, intimate level, rather than just on the superficial level. And I can tell you my story when Jupiter transited my 8th house from the ascendant. I was in a semi-stuck in traumas and processing traumas for a long time from my earlier life, because it was very messy. And I was kind of depressed, and I didn't know how I unstuck myself after 10 years of feeling like that. So when Jupiter entered my house, I suddenly met my wonderful husband, and in a day, my pain, emotional, was dissolved. So Jupiter can dissolve pain and trauma so fast. For some of you, it might be meeting a soulmate, because the 8th house is the house of deep emotional connection and intimacy, which is only possible with soulmates, which is only possible with someone that you have, like your souls have been connected for, for previous times, not superficial level. So some of you indeed will receive this gift, not all, but, and others will receive psychological and emotional healing on a deep level. It might happen spontaneously, or through work you've been doing before or do now, or through someone like a magician and shaman that appears in your life. Not literally, it can be someone, a person with a shaman's touch. They say something to you, almost like an intervention, and you are healed. Plus, spontaneous healings will be happening, not just psychologically, but physically, because a lot of our physical diseases are due to unprocessed emotional feelings. A lot of cancers and such things, they're because of some trauma that happened that we couldn't process, or we've even forgotten. So if any time a miraculous turnaround and a healing can happen in someone's life, it's when Jupiter is in the 8th house. Jupiter currently just passed, transited my 8th house from the moon, and a big crisis happened, because 8th house is connected to crisis, something that shocks you, something that takes you so out of your comfort zone that it just plops you there in totally new territory, and you really mobilize yourself, get yourself out of depression, and you create some incredible new opportunity of this crisis. Exactly what happened with me, with my channel being hacked, and I feel newly alive. The last time this happened was when Jupiter was transiting my 8th house from ascendant, and now it's Jupiter in the 8th house from my moon. I totally got out of kind of apathy and depression because of this crisis, and regrouping with new excitement and new opportunities. So make out of crisis what Jupiter will help you the most when it's transiting the 8th house. Make opportunity out of crisis, an opportunity that will be unfolding blessings for you material, psychological, emotional for 12 years ahead. So yeah, in the midst of the eye of the storm, you know, don't despair, just try and find the positive side of it and you'll quickly regroup. All right, I can talk a lot about this 8th house, but let's move on. So we don't bore you. Venus enters also your 8th house, Virgos, from the beginning of the month and will be there till the end. So it even more enhances this 8th house topic. The two benefics will be there. Some very healing psychological realizations, some sudden changes and reversals that bring something good. So if something shocking happens to you, unexpected, 8th house themes can feel like betrayal or whatever. Sometimes, or they can feel like, oh, you know, what the hell is happening? I didn't expect that. It's really for good. Two benefics are triggering this for you. So don't despair. Also, again, 8th house is intimacy. Venus transiting there, it can increase the connection and intimacy with another, the sensual connection with them as well. It can also indicate some kind of a hidden romantic engagement. And for some of you, it might even last much longer while Jupiter is in your 8th house, because 8th house is this kind of possibility for hidden, something that feels very intense, but it somehow has to start more private, more intimate. And again, Venus can bring you some gift from another, some tax return back, and all of those things. Okay, then we're having Mercury going retrograde in Gemini, which is your 10th house. Here on the top of the chart is very important house, is the other most important. So it means that Mercury will be retrograde there till May the 24th, and then it will move into your 9th house. But something will happen in regards to your career. Maybe some old project that you have to renew, to give it a facelift, to edit, to fix, connected to your career, to your work, to your reputation. You might have to redo your public image in some way. If you have a business, maybe re-strategize your public image, your brand in some way, or go back to an old problem to fix, to improve it and bring it back. But any career you're into, you might have a change of perspective about that career, because planet moving retrograde gives you a very different perspective of, you know, what are you doing? Some of you might question, am I in the right career? Is it the right thing for me? Some of you might receive certain news that make you reevaluate the next step in your career. You might have to do some important conversations with authority figures to change something in regards to your career path as well. It might be internal or external stimulus that causes this. But the final result, again, can be really good if you put the right, if you use logic and strategy and good planning, which is Mercury. Maybe good communication skills with others to help, because Mercury always involves some kind of either brainstorming or discussing with another. If you're in some pickle in your career, seeing a different perspective, and actually you can do, if something got delayed in your career, got messed up, or you're questioning something, you can do it 3 times better. Because with Mercury retrograde in your 10th house, you put 3 times more effort. You have to work on the pressure. You might have to use 3 times of your mental focus. This is Mercury retrograde because it's much closer to Earth. While at the same time, once Mercury starts moving direct, so in June, July, after that, you'll see 3 times better results for you. And it's also coming back to some old things, of course, for you. Mercury rules you, slowing down a little bit, seeing what's not working, how you can fix it. All right, and then Mercury goes retrograde on May the 24th, moves into your 9th house. It might be time to revise some old knowledge, or pick up some educational project, reconnect with some teachers or foreign friends, or maybe even do some trip that you've been planning from before, but you postponed, some faraway trip, or maybe start learning some course that you were planning on before, but you didn't complete, or you didn't, but it's not going to be something new. It's something that's already you've had in your mind, or maybe you even started, and that you get back to it to squeeze out the full potential of it. But some of you might be arranging some documents for foreign travel, for foreign relocation, that you have to put some extra efforts, correct something, fix something. You might have some correspondence with people standing somehow in a different social class than you, different higher social education, or foreigners or people from different states, to fix something, to correct something, or to reconnect with them. And some of you might re-examine your decision to kind of pre-qualify and say, maybe I need to learn something extra so I can, I'll need some extra knowledge so I can, organize better my career and career plan. So this is again something good to do during that time. Then we talked about Jupiter in Aries, what's going to bring you. Let's talk about the eclipse, the pivotal point. Eclipse on May the 16th. If you can see it in Scorpio, it doesn't directly affect you, but it will affect one of your houses. Here is Scorpio, and you are the third house. It's your third house. You're Virgo 1 to 3. So eclipses in Scorpio tend to be, especially lunar one with the south node, tend to be more tumultuous, emotionally kind of. Again, there is this, because Scorpio is like the 8th house. They have the same vibration, like a sudden shock or surprise reversal. Sometimes it's a good sudden shock, but it's still a shock. And it's very connected to some news you might receive, to some correspondence that kind of, and it's possibly not about something new. It's about something already existing in your life, some important conversations that have to happen to rearrange or to replan something. Then another way it can manifest is some secret coming out. Scorpio has very secret energy. So some secret appearing, especially hearing some news related to workmates, teammates, siblings, relatives, friends, mates. These are people in your immediate environment that you meet every day, or like mates, friends, schoolmates and so on. And some secret information can come to you, or some surprising information. Something can escalate in the relationship with such people, and you might even decide to remove such people from your life, or to change something in the relationship there. So crisis can happen with such relationships, but it can lead to new opportunity to free you from something toxic. Don't forget that Scorpio, where the eclipse is happening, has a toxic kind of energy. And this eclipse with Ketu, the south node of the dragon, which excretes, wants to release you from some toxic situation or heavy, burdensome energy that's maybe poisonous or manipulative, that comes to you from others, from relatives, or maybe on social media. Some of you might lose accounts. I hope not. But it's kind of like being relieved from toxic and heavy energy. So don't despair again if something like that happens. Some of you might lose some communication devices or some accounts or passwords. Because it's South Node, there is some kind of a loss involved always, or some kind of crisis again. But it's again for good. It's honestly, it's for good, because there are a lot of good aspects to this full moon, from Pluto, from Mercury, from Pluto, from Mars, from Neptune, while Saturn is squaring it, of course, from the 6th house. It might be connected something with work that gets involved as well. But there are so many different possibilities how it's going to work. Plus, 3rd house is the house of business transactions and marketing, media, advertising. There can be some big change or culmination of a project coming to an end, or resolution, or seeing results of something that you might have been working already, connected to your business, connecting to your contacts, connected to your social media, connected to your websites, connected to your business transactions and sales, and or if you're in any of those careers, media, marketing, advertising, writing, speaking, training, communications of any sort. You might be completing some project, or you might be putting finishing touches, or you might even be done with such a project, or have to make a huge turnaround and change your strategy, remove something, kind of more start on a clean slate and do some adjustments. So there we go. We talked about Mercury going into Taurus. That will be very helpful for you. You'll feel Mercury in your 9th house trining you very well, especially the last 5 degrees Virgos. They can benefit a lot, so from 25 to 30. And at the end of the month, Mars is going in Aries too, but we'll speak more about it in next month. It will speed up the changes. It will speed up the changes of the 8th house. Mars kind of makes the tornado spin even faster, and you have to adapt very quickly. But as I said, The only true change comes through crisis, or the only true change comes from like being totally taken out of your comfort zone, where you don't have to use effort and motivation to make a transformation. Actually, you have no options. So this is fantastic news. Get excited. If you felt stuck till now, something is gonna come now, especially strongly in May or within the next 6 months, while Jupiter in your sixth house, to slap you out of that stupor and that situation, and to put you in a way better place. So thank you.